Hello, everyone, and good evening. I am your host, Dr. Ericka. Thanks for coming on to spend some time with me. I am always excited to spend time with you. So, first, I want to say thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule just to do a little bit of quality time with me. As usual, since we are in the life of trying to stay COVID free, I am at home in Atlanta, and I know I've been broadcasting a little bit from my kitchen. Unfortunately, the flowers died, so they're gone. I haven't had a chance to replace them. But one of the reasons I decided to stream from my kitchen over the last week is there's something communal about the kitchen. I don't know about you. When I was growing up, everything went down in the kitchen. That's where we all got together to talk. That's where you heard, as they say now, everyone spilled the tea. Everything went down in the kitchen, and it didn't matter how many chairs were in there. You just bring as many chairs as possible so everyone could be in the kitchen and chat it up. So since I wanted us to be able to talk about some real issues, we're in my kitchen. So we're going to do quality time in the kitchen. So thanks again for coming on. As you come on, please say hello. Let me know how you're doing. I would love to know that you're here. I am your host, Dr. Ericka, double board certified and Harvard trained psychiatrist and best-selling speaker. I guess best-selling author. I am tongue-tied today. I'm on a mission to help women feel seen, valued, and whole on their own terms, but it doesn't matter your gender today. I'm just here to help you get through all this craziness with your sanity intact. And there is just so much going on these days that it works out that Suicide Prevention Awareness Month is September, because everyone is just dealing with so much stuff. It's just so much stuff. So from the dehumanization of Black people, we recently heard about the grand jury findings for Breonna Taylor, all of these things going on. And then we're in the midst of a pandemic. It's just a lot. So I just want to make sure people have the tools they can have to make it through this. Lots and lots of stuff all put together. So thank you again for showing up. So as I said before, our topic today, which I realized I haven't told you because we've been talking about Suicide Prevention Month, but I haven't officially said out loud, even though you probably read it going across the bottom of the screen, what we're talking about today. So today we're talking about 5 risk factors for suicide. There are more than 5, but I can't give you all the information. Then you'll remember nothing. I don't know about you. Sometimes people tell me too much stuff. It's literally like Charlie Brown. Want, 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 want. So today we're just going to go through 5. If you have questions, please put them in the chat. We will discuss it. And let's go ahead and get this moving because I know you all are busy and you have more to do today than just hang out with me, even though I would love to hang out with you all day. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So when you think about suicide, one of the things we always come to in the conversations you usually have are people are like, either I had no idea this was happening, I had no idea this was going on, and just this total shock a lot of the time. And part of it is because, number one, we don't talk about suicide that much to begin with. Number 2, people are afraid of it. And number 3, sometimes folks just don't know what to look for because there's such a stigma with mental health. Now, there have been some shifts. You know, you're seeing it more on TV. Celebrities and other people are coming out talking about how they're feeling and what's been going on. And then you also have shows like A Million Little Things that deals directly with suicide. And then other shows like This Is Us that deal with mental health. There are just lots of ways it's coming out now. So the one good thing is that people are talking about it more. Number 2 is there still need to be more conversations and more knowledge. So that's one of the reasons I am here. So one of the first things we're going to talk about, one of the first risk factors, is having a family history of suicide. So that's one of the common questions a lot of times we'll ask people is, has anyone in your family attempted or completed suicide? And I think I told you before that we don't use the word successful suicide because suicide is not a good thing. A lot of times we'll use either, for medical terms, we'll use completed. Other times people will say committed, but we usually do not say successful. So One is just knowing if there's a family history. If there's a family history and someone has committed suicide, people are at higher risk. So it's just a good thing to know. The next is previous suicide attempts. I know that's probably really logical that if someone commits suicide, that there's a chance that they have tried before. And trying before prompts people to try more. So it's something good to know, especially as a clinician. I always want to know, and that doesn't mean just because someone has had a suicide attempt doesn't mean necessarily they're going to attempt suicide again. It just means the risk goes up. It's kind of like anything that we do, anything that we've done before, a lot of times we may do again. Even something as simple as if you have like the best turkey burger, what are the chances you're going to eat another turkey burger? Because you liked it. Do it again. So one risk factor is having had previous suicide attempts. And one of the things you see with a lot of people is something that's really critical you hear about is people not wanting to live or not feeling there's anything to live for. So the third one is hopelessness, that feeling that there's no way things are going to get better, that really the only way to end whatever is going on, be it emotional suffering, physical suffering, is to die. So hopelessness is another one. Now, the next one is one that we all keep our eyes on, given the kind of situation we're in right now, because we're in a pandemic, and what are we all doing? We're staying home, and typically, unless you live with people, you are away from people a lot unless you are still working outside of the home. So the next one is isolation. One of the reasons this ends up being a risk factor is a lot of people that are very depressed or not doing well. Apparently, people want to call my phone right now. Is that they will isolate. So, you won't see them. They won't be talking to their friends and family. They may stop going out. They may even not hardly even be at work. They just are isolating. If you live in the house with them, you may notice they're spending a lot more time in the room. If you had done communal meals, they're not coming out to eat. They may eat in the room or not eat. But it's this isolation. And isolation is huge. We've talked at times about loneliness, but that isolation separates people. And it makes it easier to hold on to all those negative emotions. But what is the other thing that happens when people isolate? Well, if you're isolated, most likely you're not going to have a lot of support coming in to lift you up because you're so isolated. And if you were less isolated, then people may know what's going on, or they may be talking to you or being present for you. And if you isolate, that also means people may not necessarily know exactly what's going on. Now, the next one is one that, let's see what we got here, is alcohol or drug misuse. And I put it that way because there are times where people may not be a full-fledged drug addict or alcoholic, but the use of substances increases risk. You might say, Dr. Ericka, why do substances increase risk? Well, one of the things is that it can alter your biochemistry. And naturally, people don't think straight when they're high. People don't think straight when they're crashing. People don't think straight when they're tweaking. So there also is this element of poor judgment along with impulsivity. You put poor judgment and impulsivity together, it usually doesn't go too well. And part of it's because what you may have enough sense to do if you're not high or drunk or you're not crashing is that you'll think, and you may think, oh, what if I'm not here? Or what is it like if I die? And then you have these other thoughts that come behind it, and you come up with reasons to live, or reasons that, oh no, this isn't a good idea. I might be thinking about it, but it's not a good idea. Well, just like anything else that happens sometimes when people are high or drunk, is things that are bad ideas don't seem so bad when you are under the influence. And also people tend to be more impulsive, which basically just means they aren't thinking before they do things. So that's one of the reasons that one is a higher risk. Now you might be like, hey, Dr. Ericka, is this almost over? You already went through 5. Well, guess what? Because I care about all of you out there, I'm going to give you a bonus. So the bonus is being between 15 and 24 years old or over 60. That's basically because those are some really high risk groups where the rates of suicide tend to be higher. So you're looking at this as kind of teens and young adults and over 60. So when we think about it and start breaking it down, these are really major transition points. Now, over 60, people are looking at what is the meaning of their life? What is their legacy? They oftentimes may have a lot of medical conditions because also people that are in severe pain can be at higher risk. Then people that are 15 to 24, well, young people tend to also be more impulsive. They may not have as much of an experience. The older you get, the more experience you have to understand what things may change. Teenager and child logic is not the same as adult logic. And that's one thing I like to let people know is don't look for them to have the same logic all of us have, because they don't. And 15 to 24 is also a major stage of identity formation. But those are two high risk age groups when it comes to suicide. So we're going to do a really quick review, but I just want to remind people, if you know anybody that needs this, please tag them. If you know anybody else, please share. And the last thing is, if you're watching it later, no worries, just put hashtag replay in the comments so that I know you were here. So let's go ahead and do this quick little review so I can get you out of here enjoying your Tuesday night. So the first one was, we're talking about 5 risk factors for suicide because it is Suicide Prevention Month. We have a few more days left because it's September. The first one is a family history of suicide. Second one are previous attempts of suicide. The third one is hopelessness. Then the fourth one is isolation. And as we were talking about, isolation is huge right now because a lot of people are feeling lonely and they're feeling isolated. And there's a natural shift towards isolation in this current environment, where it may be more of an outlier if we were all actually out of the house a bit more. The fifth one was alcohol or drug misuse due to impulsivity, poor decisions, issues with cognition, and also biochemical changes that happen. Then we have our bonus, which is being between 15 and 24 or over 60, because those are some significantly high risk groups. So I just wanted to make sure we were talking about that. Oh my gosh, my mom just told me, she's like, you're way too busy because this is Wednesday. I did say it was Tuesday. Didn't I say it was Tuesday? My bad. It is Wednesday. I'm glad my mom got me right on that, because apparently I don't know the days of the week right now. So we're going to start wrapping up. So the next thing I just want to say is, if you or you know someone that has been struggling and maybe thinking about either ending their life or thinking about death, because sometimes people think about death and they're not thinking about actually killing themselves, but they'll have thoughts like, what would it be like if I weren't around anymore? Or would anybody notice if I was gone? So if you or someone you know is going through something like that, there is the National Suicide Prevention Hotline. The number is listed right down here. It's 1-800-273-TALK, 1-800-273-TALK. Now, if you would prefer to text and not speak on the phone, you can text home to 741-741. And you're going to see numerous places. If you go on the web, it all goes really to the same place. You'll see different things, because even I know Shanti Das with Silence the Shame, they have silence, and you send it to 741-741. The only reason the names or the word changes is it's a way for them to track where the person may have heard where the line is from. But you can text there, and the thing is this doesn't mean necessarily everyone's going to the hospital, but sometimes people just need a little someone to talk and someone to help them sort through what they're thinking, how they're feeling, and what are some resources. So I wanted to make sure that I let you know some general information. Naturally, also, if someone just feels super dangerous, you can always call 911 or go to the emergency room too. And there also are typically local crisis lines. So in Georgia, we have the Georgia Crisis and Access Line, or GCAL. If you just type in Georgia Crisis Line, it comes up. And the great thing is all of this stuff has phenomenal SEO. It's very easy to find. So I wanted to make sure I put that up for you, okay? Now, I have a couple things. We talked about these the last time, but just in case you didn't see the last one, I wanted to put it up for you. It's a good resource because one of the things I think that's very important to fight suicide is to have some knowledge and understand some basics about mental health. And this book, I co-authored it, but it helps demystify mental health and has special information in there for Black communities. Anybody can use it, but there's also special information in language and information on health disparities and the cultural context of Black people and mental health. That's in this book too as a bonus. So it's called Mind Matters, a resource guide to psychiatry for Black communities. So I want to recommend that. It's a simple question answer format, very easy to read. You can read it front to back, or you can pick out the chapters of what you're interested in. It's an excellent tool to be able to advocate for yourself and for your loved ones. And also, if there's someone you know that you're worried about, you could say, hey, I'm not sure. Can you look at this and let me know if this seems like you or you have something in common? The other thing is we've been talking about suicide, I wanted to, again, recommend this book. It's called Lay My Burden Down. It's by Dr. Alvin Poussaint and Amy Alexander. So I want to also recommend it. It's not a brand new book, but it is excellent. It is such a good book. I highly recommend this book too. So, and the last thing is if you're feeling stressed out or overwhelmed and just feel like it's just a little bit, things are just too much for you to handle, not necessarily that you feel suicidal, but you just are feeling overwhelmed or like you just need to talk to someone, you need to get a mental health checkup, make sure everything's going okay. One of the things I like to encourage people is it's great to see you when it's not a crisis, because by the time it gets to a crisis, like to the point where you're starting to think of suicide and those kinds of things, well, what you're going to need to help get you feeling well is going to be a lot more. But if you come to me or one of my colleagues when things are kind of low level, when you're just starting to feel just really out of sorts, or like having problems getting out of bed, or it's hard to sleep, or you don't feel like yourself, or you feel like you're yelling at everybody, or you're crying all the time, come to us then. Don't wait till it's the point where you want to die. Come to us early. So I have a telepsychiatry practice. Right now it's 18 and over. I'm focusing on Georgia, Missouri, Tennessee, Massachusetts, California, and Texas. I think I said all the states. And just go to askdr.goodwin.com, askdrgoodwin.com. It's also scrolling. I keep pointing down here because everything's scrolling down there. And you can get a complimentary consultation, and we can see if I'm a good fit for you and see if what you need is appropriate for the services I provide. There's literally nothing to lose. So that's what I got for you today. I just want to send some love and hugs out to everyone. I want to remind you the same thing as always. Make sure you call at least one person and tell them that you love them, that's your prescription. And do me a favor right now, just give yourself a nice big hug. You know why? Because you deserve it. And that's what I got for you today. Tomorrow we're going to talk about something a little bit lighter. We're going to talk about 3 ways you can de-stress your home environment. I look forward to seeing you. I will be back at 7 o'clock Eastern tomorrow. Please take care of yourself. Please be safe and make sure that you show lots of love and you accept love. Love is powerful, and love, hope, and grace are 3 of the things that are going to get us through all of this. So thank you so much. Have a great night.